What if I told you that a single forgotten umbrella could spark a wave of kindness that changed an entire neighborhood? Meet Sarah, an ordinary woman with a quiet heart and a chaotic city life. Every morning, she battled the rush hour crush, the relentless noise, the invisible walls of indifference. One rainy day, she saw an elderly man shivering, clutching a broken plastic bag instead of an umbrella. Without thinking, Sarah handed him her spare umbrella, an object so small, yet that moment was the seed of something much bigger. The obstacle? Indifference, not just in others, but in herself. Years of fast-paced living had numbed her empathy, making kindness feel like a luxury she couldn't afford. But that umbrella moment cracked something open. Sarah realized that real change doesn't need grand gestures. It begins with noticing the small things that others overlook. She started carrying a few extra umbrellas, snacks, and warm scarves in her bag. She gave them to strangers waiting at bus stops, to children playing in the rain, to the homeless huddled under shop awnings. Each act was tiny, but they created ripples. People started smiling more. One day, a young man who received an umbrella returned the favor by organizing a community cleanup. The cleanup volunteers met neighbors who had never spoken before. Conversations sparked, friendships formed, and soon a neighborhood that once felt cold and disconnected began to blossom with shared care and pride. Sarah's small acts snowballed into a grassroots movement of kindness. The takeaway? You don't need a grand plan or a spotlight to make a difference. Start by tuning in to the world around you. Notice the small needs. Carry a little extra kindness with you, whether it's an umbrella, a smile, or a listening ear. When you give without expecting, you create a ripple that multiplies. Your small kindness can inspire others to act, turning isolated moments into a wave of change. So tomorrow, look around you. What small act can you do today that might grow into something beautiful for someone else? Remember, every hero's cape is stitched with simple, everyday kindness. But Sarah's story doesn't end there. As weeks turned into months, the impact of those small acts began to weave itself into the fabric of the community. The local coffee shop, inspired by Sarah's quiet generosity, started offering free hot drinks to those waiting outside on cold mornings. A group of teenagers, who once ignored the elderly residents of the neighborhood, began volunteering to help with yard work and errands. The local school incorporated lessons about empathy and kindness, encouraging students to look beyond themselves and engage with their neighbors. Even the city council took notice, partnering with community groups to install more benches and sheltered areas at bus stops, making waiting in the rain a little easier for everyone. Sarah often thought back to that rainy day when she handed over her umbrella without a second thought. It was a simple gesture, but it had unlocked something within her and within the neighborhood. She realized that kindness wasn't just about big, sweeping changes. It was about the steady, persistent acts of care that build connection and trust over time. Neighbors who once passed by without a word now greeted each other warmly. Children played together in the streets, sharing toys and laughter despite the occasional drizzle. Local businesses flourished, not just because of commerce, but because they became places where people felt seen and valued. The community garden blossomed with fresh vegetables and flowers, tended by volunteers who shared stories and recipes as they worked side by side. Sarah found herself invited to neighborhood meetings, not as a leader with grand ideas, but as a witness to the power of small kindnesses. Her own life transformed as well. The indifference that once weighed heavily on her heart began to lift, replaced by a sense of purpose and belonging. She discovered that giving didn't diminish her, it enriched her. Each smile she received, each word of thanks, was a reminder that kindness is a gift that flows both ways. And as more people joined in, the movement grew. Not through force or obligation, but through a shared desire to make their corner of the world a little brighter. Sarah's story is a testament to the idea that change starts with noticing. Noticing the shiver of a stranger, the weight of silence between neighbors, the overlooked need for warmth or companionship. It starts with a willingness to reach out, even when it feels inconvenient or small. Because sometimes, the smallest umbrella can shelter more than just one person. It can protect hope, spark connection, and inspire a community to come alive. Imagine if each of us carried a little extra kindness every day. What would happen if instead of rushing past, we paused to see the person next to us? If we offered a helping hand, a kind word, or simply our presence? In a world that often feels divided and hurried, these small acts become bridges, connecting us across differences, healing invisible wounds, and reminding us that we are not alone. Kindness is not limited by geography, age, or circumstance. It does not require wealth, status, or recognition. It thrives in the simple decisions we make: to listen without judgment, to share without expectation, to care without condition. These choices ripple outward, touching lives we may never fully know, creating a legacy that outlasts any grand gesture. So as you step out tomorrow, carry your own umbrella of kindness. It might be a literal umbrella, like Sarah's, or it might be a smile shared with a stranger, a door held open, a moment to truly listen. Each act is a thread in the tapestry of community, weaving a story of hope and humanity. Remember, every hero's cape is stitched with simple, everyday kindness, and sometimes the smallest forgotten umbrella can change the world.